the wholesome, winning, working woman. I want us to lay the foundation with identifying what winning looks like to you. Because for me, winning can look like kids, travel, work. For someone else, winning looks like being home and cooking 4 meals a day. To someone else, winning looks like no kids, no husband, just traveling and changing the world. And I want to stamp it that whatever your winning looks like, it's okay. One thing I am learning, the hardest lesson that I'm learning in life is that the same thing that makes you win, or that makes you great or phenomenal, is the same thing that will challenge you until you confront it and work with it. You know, there's a whole, in South Africa, in our language, we say, don't live with abantu bazothini. Like, get out of that whole thing of what will people say. It's a great concept, like, absolutely. Don't, when you spoke about it, that you have to choose who gets a say in your life. There's the primary, the tertiary, etc. And you have to kind of get used to not caring what people say, right? But what if I do care? And if I take out the caring element out of my work, I don't get to have a podcast. Because how am I sitting doing a podcast trying to get wisdom and people's life journeys and their authentic stories, and the most important part of what I do is to make sure that a person is comfortable enough to open up? How do I do that without caring? But how do I thrive and make sure that my podcast has reaches Africa, reaches the UK, but I care what people say? I don't know if you're understanding what I'm talking about, that it's that one thing that my care for people, I care so much about people that it affects how I do everything else, so that when the negativity comes, it breaks me. But that very same thing that breaks me is what allows a person to open up on my chair. What is it for you? That one thing, or those things that you know, man, this makes me thrive here, but it breaks me. Number 2, people call it controlling. For me, it's leadership. How many women here have been called controlling, bossy? You want to take charge, you want to tell us what to do. Okay, but is it not leadership? How am I supposed to lead you if I don't have control of the situation? But now, we also still have to find that balance where we get home. Yes, it's nice to know that we eat supper at 6, but if we eat supper at 6:10, it's okay. You know, it's okay. And the thing is, those are the extremes of being a brilliant leader. You don't get to switch it off. Those are the extremes of being a successful person. You don't get to be successful here and then you switch it off over here. It is part of you. It is either your thorn or your stick. It's what makes you you. And the world is teaching us that we have to change that. And we simply cannot. I've sat in enough therapy chairs and journals and to know that there's parts of me that God needs to use. Those parts that I might not feel comfortable showing the world, God needs them. And the same thing for you. So if you're that girl like me who's called bossy and controlling and take it from me, you're just a brilliant leader. Attention to detail is my 3rd one. My attention to detail is what makes me thrive. It's what makes everybody come and say, we want you, because you pay attention to how you do things. There's detail in everything. But then you don't get to enjoy life. I got a quote from John Wooden and it says, don't let making a living prevent you from making a life. I believe as women we can do incredible things. We can do absolutely incredible things. I believe we can break barriers, we can open new doors, and we should. We really, really should. But at the end of the day, when you sit with yourself, when we sit with ourselves, how do we feel? Do we feel like we're actually living, or are we just making a living? There's always going to be something urgent. But are you urgent to you? There's always going to be a deadline. And if our inner being is not taken care of, then we end up just adding dead weight to everything else. Nothing thrives, nothing grows if we're dead. Are we taking care of ourselves so that our quality of life is good, so that every time we have interactions, we leave a good taste in people's lives? Or are you like that checkers person who's just going next, next, and next just because it doesn't matter to you? Excellence is not limited to people on stage. Excellence is for everything. If you're sweeping floors, sweep them with excellence so that I don't trip over anything while I'm doing my thing because you didn't do your job properly. One thing about God, he never does something just for you. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it through you so that he gets glory, so that more people can be helped. A pastor once explained it that if God has 10,000 rand and he needs 20 people to be fed, he's going to give it to the person who will spread it. So if you're that one person, whenever you get something or you have a gift, you just sit with it and it's just for you, why would you get more? Whereas there's a person who, when they trusted with 2, they make sure that it's distributed. However you look at it, be it financially, be it through your skills, and that's why you'll find one person doing 4 things and they're doing it amazing and you're just like, how does that person do it? Well, it's because they were faithful with the one thing. We need people. We need our family. Yes, there's toxic people and you have your boundaries with them, but there's people who genuinely care about you.